Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Ganganapate Namaha. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakareshu Sarvada Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Namo Narayanaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Shri Hanumanji Maharaj Ki Jai. Welcome to Nitya Satsang. Today is the 5th of October 2025. I want to offer my prostrations, Anantakoti Namaskara, Danvat Pranam to all the sages, saints, bhaktas present on the planet today, and to Paramatma Bhagavan residing in the heart of every single being at all times and all places. Ishavasyam idam sarvam. With that bhavana, we are continuing from yesterday to examine the connection between Ashtanga Yoga, the Eightfold Yoga, which is also called Raja Yoga, and the Jivan Mukta Sthiti, living liberation, as well as Prema Bhakti, triangle. This is going to be our model all the way until the end of this year and maybe beyond. 3 points. The two are always going to be the same, and third one will be continuing forward. So Ashtanga Yoga is Eightfold Yoga, right? So Eightfold Yoga is having 8 limbs. That's what they're called. They're called 8 limbs of yoga. The first one is yama, second is niyama, third is asan, fourth is pranayama, fifth is pratyahar, sixth is dharana, seventh is dhyan, eighth is samadhi. So we started looking at the very first one yesterday, and that was yama. That is yama, ahimsa. So to move forward into the second part of yama is satya. So the yam, that is not the god Yama, not that god of death. That's not what this word means. It means a way of regulating one's behavior, one's activity. It is a guide to set the foundation for yogic connection. Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, Brahmacharya, Aparigraha. These are the 5 points, and they connect beautifully. 5 qualities. They connect very, very beautifully. So we're looking at Satya today and see how that is connected to Ahimsa. It is connected to Prema Bhakti as well as to the living liberation state, Jivan Mukta Sthiti. So Satya is the second yama in the Patanjali 8-limb 8-limb yoga. It is more than just telling the truth. It's about living in harmony with reality in thought, word, and deed. Thought, word, and action. So key aspects of Satya. Satya means truth. So with speech, speak only which is true, necessary, and kind. Words should uplift rather than harm. Right? We know this. Just children know this. Who doesn't know this? But to apply, application. Application is everything. This is how we connect with Bhagavan, by application. Speak that which is true. Yes, one should not speak falsities, obviously, because that destroys our sadhana. No doubt. There is that. Then that much that is necessary. Vivek se bolna. Don't keep over talking. We spend a lot of energy in too much talk. It also doesn't mean not to talk, of course. But to decide the quantity of the speech and the quality of the speech, the kind of speech, with which bhav, with which feeling, right? So that which is true, that which is alignment with truth, that which is necessary given the context, and that which is spoken with compassion and kindness. Bahut badi baat hai. These are not small things. To speak like that with anybody, it requires lot of prayer, lot of गुरु सेवा, गुरु कृपा. भगवान के जो संत है उनको बहुत प्रार्थना करनी चाहिए कि हमारे जीवन में ऐसी बानी आ जाए. That our words are formed in this way by the grace of the great sages. This is Guru Krupa. Guru Krupa is when our internal mechanism of the mind aligns with all these beautiful qualities, one step at a time. Don't get overwhelmed. I'm telling myself first, don't get overwhelmed by all this thing. There's a lot of information coming every day. Information is endless. It is the Inculcation meaning the application, living, resonance inside. Absorption, resonance, two words, keep mentioning them again and again. Absorbance, absorb this idea and see where it is applied, how it is applied, and live it with the grace of God. Even living it is भगवान की शक्ति. इसको कहते हैं इष्ट देवता का बल, इष्ट बल. In Gujarati we say इष्ट बल राखू. Keep the strength of the Ishta Devata inside of you. And that is the Guru also. Right? So, speaking that which is true. Now, what about speaking that which is true that can cause harm? No, should not speak like that. One has to be careful. Shikshapatri mein bhi likha hai. Agnya Maharaj ne agnya ki hai. He has stated, don't speak that kind of truth that will cause a lot of harm to others, even to yourself. It's not necessary. Sometimes in our lives, it may have happened in all of our lives, some things we may have done. We don't need to broadcast that to anybody. We know that we surrender it at the feet of God. Enough. You don't need to broadcast it even to yourself again and again. If people are running inside that same motor, suddenly digging up stuff from the past and playing it inside their mind. Yeah, that did happen. But that's not necessary to be dug up that way. You see, because then that just contaminates our present experience. So we are speaking externally and we are speaking internally. This is a big research in psychology. We know this, right? It's called the internal self-talk. We are always speaking to ourselves internally, about ourselves, about others, about our memories, about our experiences. Yes, we need to be aware what happened, but we don't need to resonate with disturbances of the past, keep bringing them up again. That is having self-compassion. Karuna. Karuna, we think of karuna meaning compassion towards others. Of course, that has to be there. But there is also karuna for oneself. That is a tremendous thing. Compassion towards oneself. Compassion towards one's tendencies, programming, conditioning, past events. Leave it where it is. That is compassion. Leaving memories in the memories only and not digging them up again and playing around with them and making oneself getting stuck inside that. That is not necessary. So this is again part of Satya, by the way. We don't realize the power of this, what Patanjali wrote. Amazing. Words should uplift rather than harm. Uplift who? Yourself and others. Shabda aise bolna, the speech that Sachin is speaking now, this is going outside. But it's also coming inside. And when we're by ourselves, look at our chaos inside the mind. You don't need all that chaos. The speech should resonate with Satyam. Now, what is that resonance with Satyam? We are aware of our life experiences. Leave them alone. Leave them where they learn something from them. Learn how to evolve from them. Don't get stuck over there. And talk about Manan Chintan kis bar, on what? On the highest ideals, on the greatest truths. Bhagwan ke charitra, bhajan kirtan mein lag jana, mantra jap mein lag jana. Good things to read. Interesting, even entertainment stuff, activity we do in a nice way without any kind of contamination. Some entertainment here, otherwise we contaminate. The point is, the goal of this yama, this entire 5-step process or 5 qualities, is to bring the antakarana into resonance with eventually the atma, but to bring the antakarana into a purified state. Antakarana shuddhi. That is, without that there's no chance of spiritual realization. Life aisa hi mix rehta hai, aise chalta hai. We don't want that to happen, right? So this is the first point about Satya has 3 components. I mean, it has infinite components, but it's beyond all components really. But nonetheless, 3 things to keep in mind. Speech, we just talked about that. Then thought. Align one's inner thinking, and I would even say the thoughts, emotions, memories, desires, energy, the TEMDE, all of the 5. Align our inner thoughts with truth. Is that easy to do? Well, how can Sachin align my thinking, my internal activity with Satyam, with truth, until I know what is that truth, until I am aware of that truth? And what does that word truth even mean? What is that? That's a great discovery. There are several words here in English. The word truth means satya, but there's also the word real. Yes, in English, real. So real versus unreal, truth versus false. Right? So the word satyam means truth. Yes, it means definitely truth. But it also means real. In the Sanskrit language, as far as my research goes on this, I'll have to look it up some more. But the word real and truth, they are the same in Sanskrit. That is satyam. See, very interesting. So that which is real, what is that satyam actually? That Bhagavat Swarup is satya. Atma Swarup is satya. Satya meaning eternally existing, non-changing, eternally existing, non-divisive, absolutely existing at all times. That is called Satyam. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. So the word Satyam refers to that which always is. And that which always is what? Not this sansar. This sansar is changing. The names and forms of this world are changing constantly. So that which is real is the Brahman, is the Atman. And this is where our mental activity aligns with Satyam. So the alignment with Satyam is the entire process of yogic connection. So to align with Satyam, my mind needs to be infused with ideas about Satyam. And that is where the Bhagavad Gita's 700 verses come into the picture. Other scriptures also, no doubt. Bahut Shastra hai. I'm just using Gita as a foundation. Bhagavad Gita's truths are each and every one is Satyam. Wo mantra hai. One of the great Vaishnavas said to me recently at one of the temples, ISKCON temples, because we go to satsang there. He said it beautifully, and I'm so happy that he said that. He said that he's one of the very elderly and senior devotees. He said it to me that each verse of the Gita is a Mahamantra. कितनी सुंदर बात है ये. तो भगवद गीता का जो अभ्यास, commentaries, study, scriptures, इसका जो मनन चिंतन है, we should do that. Because that will bring our buddhi in alignment with Satyam through the Gita as the Gita. Bhagavad Gita हमारा प्राण है. हमारा mean not just me as an individual, every human being. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Bhagavad Gita is the absolute base. It's the base, it's the development, it's everything. There's nothing beyond the Gita. And there can never be anything beyond the Gita. Itna mahima hai iska. Adbhut mahima hai. So to align with Satyam, the buddhi is thinking, is buddhi, mind, etc. It is going through a lot of activity throughout the day. Apply this buddhi towards the mananam, towards the chintanam, towards the contemplation on the teachings that are embedded within the Bhagavad Gita again and again and again. And when we do that, when Sachin does that properly, systematically, with a lot of prayer to all the great sages and to Paramatma, to Radhika ji, with lots of prarthana, then the buddhi will be infused, absorbed inside the beautiful, extraordinary truth that is in the Gita. That is the Gita. It is the infusion of the Gita, not simply reading the Gita. You know how we have this, they talk about this blood infusion or blood, I don't know how that is used. They give like this injections called infusion in the body of different medicines and all that. Then that changes the physiology of the body. It makes us well. Different doctors, they give infusions of different kinds. I don't know too much about it, but that's what, we are aware that they do that. Why do they do that? So, sometimes they put that antibiotic right inside the IV because the infection is so severe. I see the IV made, not the pills. IV mein antibiotic dete hai. Isn't it so? It's like that. Put that Bhagavad Gita as an IV. Not simply taking the pills, little bit here, little bit there, scratching on the surface. Aisa nahi. Bring it inside as an IV. Siddha aayega internally. How do we do that? This is what Satyam is. This quality of Satyam is the alignment. That it is a determination. One has to determine through the intellect, conviction, nishay. कि गीता जी परम सत्य है, इतना तो आना चाहिए. There's basis for that. We've talked about it before. Well, once that comes, that this is real, or it is pointing to the real, and it is real, then that real is actually my Swarup. By absorbing the teachings of the Gita, resonance, mind begins to align with Satyam. Satyam Param Dhimahi. Srimad Bhagavad में starting में ये बात लिखी है. The alignment with Satyam, there's nothing like that. But that happens through Sat Shastra and the expositions of the great sages. That is the alignment. Take, for example, Ramakrishna Paramahansa, a fantastic example to use because I think he's really he's a, greatest teacher for everybody. All paramparas, all people in the world. I don't think anybody could deny that. Maybe some people may. Look at what his teachings are in the Gospel of Ramakrishna Paramahansa. See, those are nothing but the Gita. They are coming from his life. So those teachings, those incidences, so many are there. We don't have time to go into that here in our morning satsang. But you can look it up online. There's a lot of material available. Or this is how the absorption happens and the connection with Paramatma. That connection with God, that is Satyam, that begins to happen further through the absorption and internalization of the words of the Bhagavad Gita. And when we do this, as this happens intentionally, we avoid self-deception. We avoid lying to ourselves. People lie to others, that's one thing. People lie to themselves. What is the point in lying to yourself? Look in the mirror, you see who you are. All we have to do is see where we are and see what the Gita is teaching. See what the great sages are teaching. There's a comparison right away. You don't need anybody else. That's a guru. That is a guru actually. When we see what is written in the Gita, when we see what the lives of the great bhaktas, bade sant ho gaye, aur hamara jeevan kaisa hai, hum kya hai, where are we? We can compare right away. We can see clearly, okay, they are here, we're somewhere down here. We need to bridge that gap. Right? So this is alignment with Satyam. That is in the thoughts. Now the third component is action. So there's three key aspects of Satyam: through speech, through thought, which also means emotion and the whole internal structure, and action. Ensuring actions, meaning kriya, our activity, are consistent with truth and integrity. Our actions, verbal, mental, physical, all actions, are they in alignment with Satyam. Because when we are not in alignment, we are back into that mixed state. Right? To have integrity, to have transparency, to have honesty. This is all part of Satyam. Very interesting. See, this is all application. So when we apply this quality today, Ananda hai isme. Maha Ananda. It's so beautiful. Stay aligned with Satyam, that which is real. That, please be careful. That doesn't mean one is broadcasting one's deficiencies. No, that is a viveka. How much to speak, when to speak, with what quality to speak, whom to speak with. Because we do not want to speak in such a way, or even think in such a way, or even remember in such a way that is going to cause entanglement, that is going to cause disturbance, that is going to cause a deflection from Satyam. बहुत ध्यान रखना इस point पर. Telling myself, detection of deflection away from Satyam is the way to come back into alignment with Satyam. I hope that makes sense. To detect. Oh, my mind has gone here. My thought has gone here. I've said something here. We pick it up right away. गुजराती में कहते हैं अखंड जान पड़ो. महाराज कहते हैं वचनामृत में. भगवान स्वामीनारायण कहते हैं बहुत सुंदर बात. हमारा परमहंस अखंड जान पड़ा रूपे दरवाजे उभा छे. That's, it's an amazing statement. क्या बात है वचनामृत की. अद्भुत बात है. There's such a direct way to be awakened into the Buddha state. Buddha means awakening only. It is an awakening. It is a detection. Oh, I've gotten deflected. It's like that pilot in the airplane, They've set a destination from one airport to another. They're flying high, but they have to make small adjustments. The autopilot makes small adjustments so that track remains the same. Those small adjustments are continuously necessary. Before the autopilot, the pilots would have to make them manually. Now the autopilot does it. That plane can pretty much take off and land by itself. The pilot doesn't have to do much these days. Sab automatic hota hai. Mostly 90% of it. Maybe more. That is what we want. We want to be on autopilot. That automatically the adjustments are made. See the airplane analogy. अभी जो एयरप्लेन सब बनते हैं, they are, maybe the pilots do have to push some buttons to start the airplane. And then they have to maybe they're doing some maneuver to take off. Even that's done automatically. A lot of it is done automatic. And then it's, eventually it's all automatic. They know how to do it by themselves. But then once they are cruising, it's some automatic adjustment hote. They don't have to do anything. Now we have cars like that. They are adjusting, by the lanes automatically. You don't have to only hold the steering wheel. That's all. You don't even have to worry about steering the wheel that much. The car that I have is like that too. It's something amazing. Technology. It's a technology. Similarly, we want to get to that point where we are, our internal world, our life, is automatically adjusting to Satyam. There's going to be some deflection here and there. That is the way life goes. But to come back to that goal, not to get into some track like a plane that is going, it deflects by 1 degree and it doesn't come back on the right track, it will wind up somewhere else completely. We know that. 1 degree of deflection of an airplane, it will take it away, and God knows where it will take it. Completely away from the destination. This happens in sadhana. This happens in our progression towards Paramatma. भगवान का साक्षात्कार करना है, सत्य का साक्षात्कार करना है, आत्मा परमात्मा का साक्षात्कार करना है, भगवान के संत की स्थिति लानी है, संत के गुण लाने हैं, अद्भुत आनंद की प्राप्ति करनी है, दिव्य अनुभूति करनी है. One cannot deflect. Not at all. It will नहीं चलेगा. बिल्कुल नहीं चलेगा. कैसे चलेगा? How that is possible? If you have a jumbo jet with 400 passengers and double deck and whatever it is, first class, second class, third, whatever, all those classes, business class, this thing, that thing, going from one country to another, that plane cannot deflect. It has to stay right on track. Maybe make some maneuvers here and there, whatever, but it has to stay on track. Can you imagine what happens if the pilot forgets how to run the airplane, forgets the goal? Kitna chaos what chaos will happen if the pilot and the co-pilot forget what is the destination. They forget the knowledge of how to run the airplane. My God, they're lost. The whole thing is in chaos. That is life of a sadhak. Sometimes we forget what is our goal. Dheyo narayano harihi. भगवान का साक्षात्कार एक ही गोल है लाइफ में. There is all the other goals are supporting this goal. Dharma, artha, kama support the goal of jivan mukti. But to forget that is to keep spinning around, deflecting, going up and down, not knowing where to land the airplane. It is like that. So the continual adjustments, hour to hour, as sadhana increases, as connection with God increases, there is the buddhi yoga. Bhagavan Krishna Paramatma Swayam kehte, dadami buddhi yogam tam. I will grant you buddhi yoga. What is my buddhi yoga? It is that intelligence to say, oh, I'm getting deflected here. This is going here. Mind is going here. This is happening. Bring it back to the goal. The goal should be clear. Goal is what is that goal, by the way? That is Satyam. What is that Satyam? That is a matter of revelation. That is Bhagavad Tattva. It is not simply that I can imagine what is Satyam. It's not imagination. It is revelation. It's a Christian word, but a beautiful word, right? Very beautiful. To reveal. Satyam is revealed. It is not simply believed or some repetition of some verses or some ideas. No. It is not like that. It is revelation. It's the revelation of the path towards God, the right path towards God. Just as the airplane takes off, the whole scenery changes. The path is revealed. The beautiful sceneries appear on that path. Flying high. That airplane example is a good one. Fly high in life. Uppar ki drishti rakhna. Kya bandhan? When the airplane is flying at 40,000 feet, 40,000 feet up, koi bandhan hai with anybody down there? Yes, it's an awareness of the mass, land mass, oceans and land masses. Kitna experience hai wo, tremendous anubhav hai. Aisi hamari drishti, this kind of vision is Brahmic vision, vast vision. We don't get disturbed by small things. Bilkul nahi. How can that happen? Steadiness remains. Because the goal is always kept in mind. Like Mirabai. Mere to Giridhar Gopal. Or Akhand Satsang. Satsang bahut sundar. There are so many great teachers online. Bahut Sant Parampara. But this is the grace of technology. अभी तो पूरा अध्यात्म विज्ञान ज्ञान विज्ञान ऑनलाइन आ गया है. The only thing is to absorb it, live it, and living our ordinary life. It is not about talking about Ashtanga yoga to every single person we meet. If the opportunity is there, it's okay. किसी के साथ सत्संग की opportunity है, बहुत सुंदर. Most people are living in the three gunas of Maya. Mostly Rajogun. And so you have to still interact with them. Whatever they're doing, let it be. Let them continue because that they are asleep. Ya nisha sarva bhutanam. Bhagwan Krishna kehte. Iska avgun nahi hai. Please be very careful. Do not take fault with anybody. They are not awakened to their destination of truth. They're stuck in काम, क्रोध, लोभ, मोह, मत्सर. इसमें सब जो people are running in that direction, they are lost inside the jungle of Maya. They're lost. It's not their fault. इसका कोई fault नहीं है इसमें. They're just lost in that jungle and they don't know that they're lost. Can you imagine the situation? ये माया का बंधन कैसा है? That person is lost inside and doesn't know that they're lost. And they're just running, causing lot of just chaos usually. And if they have some dharmic life or some good ethics and morality, that's a good quality. That's at least some stability. Otherwise, there's large portions of people causing a lot of damage to humanity, to themselves, to others. उनके लिए भगवान के how can we say pray? There's two things to keep in mind with all those individuals who are in that ya nisha sarva bhutana, that state. Yasyam jagrati sayami. Bhagwan Krishna's teaching is that ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagrati sayami yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato munehe. Who is asleep and who is awake? To be awakened towards the Atman and Paramatma. There's nothing like that. That is what we are trying to do. To awaken from inside towards Satyam, towards God, towards the Atman, towards Brahman. And to awake out of what? Out of the sleep of Agnan. Out of the sleep of Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moha, Matsar, Asha, Trishna, Irsha, Anka, Rag, Dvesh, Mera, Tera, Chal, Kapat, Bhed, Bhav. Ye sab nidra hai. To awaken out of that. It is awakening out of that, then the entrance will happen into Satyam. Into divine joy, into prema, into bhakti. Then Bhagwan Ram के जो चरित्र है, भगवान कृष्ण के चरित्र है, बड़े बड़े संतों के चरित्र है, one begins to get absorbed in that while living in the world. Living in the world is as it is. No problem. We live in the sansar, but the sansar, and its disturbances, its entanglements, its binding doesn't live in us. This is Jivan Mukta Sthiti. किसको चाहिए? किसकी तैयारी है? आ जाओ, मैदान में आ जाओ. किसकी तैयारी है? किसकी, शूरवीर भक्त बन. Shurveer means courage to say, yes, we want this. It's courage. किसकी तैयारी है? निष्कुळानंद जी कहते हैं, खोली खोली ने खोलियु खरा खपा वाला नहीं खोटे रे. Khap in the Gujarati language, khap means this tenacity, intensity to say that yes, Bhagwan ही चाहिए और जीवन दिव्य बनाना है, जीवन शुद्ध बनाना है, जीवन पवित्र बनाना है. किसी के साथ राग, द्वेष, क्लेश कुछ भी नहीं रखना. Over analysis, tension, memory, entanglements, सब छोड़ देने. Yoga chitta vritti nirodha. This is the power of Satyam. When we really look at what is Satyam, it's not just about reading information. It is about realizing, absorbing, realizing, living in that. इसीलिए भगवान का नाम, भगवत नाम. The more we take the holy name, whether it is a Hare Krishna mantra, the Swami Narayan mantra, the Lakshmi Narayan mantra, different stotras, the Chamunda Devi mantra, Shiv ji ke mantra, Hanuman ji ke mantra, जो प्रिय लगता है उसमें लग जाओ. Wasting time and energy in unnecessarily thinking about the sansar. इसमें से क्या मिलेगा? इसमें से मिलेगा क्या? It's the same repetition again and again and again. Mind is just revolving in the same circle and damaging energy in that. Vyavasyatmika buddhir ekeha kurunandana bahushaka hanantasya buddhayo vyavasayinam. Bhagavad Gita. Bahushaka hanantasya. Our mind is dispersed and life is dispersed in 1,000 places. There's no need for it to be yes, keep attention, energy where it needs to be. Ekeha kurunandana bahushaka anantascha. Ekeha kur. That when all of that dispersion comes into alignment towards that one supreme goal, then there is no deflection. Then nobody on the outside, no situation on the outside, no person on the outside, no environmental changes on the outside will deflect the individual from that Paramananda, Brahmananda, from that highest of realization. किसकी तैयारी है? We have been granted this human body. भगवान शंकराचार्य जी कहते हैं दुर्लभम त्रयमेवे तद्देवानुग्रह हेतुकम, देव अनुग्रह हेतुकम मनुष्यत्वम मुमुक्षुत्वम महापुरुष संश्रय. Mumukshu bhav, the desire for liberation, desire for akhanda bhakti, और भगवान के जो संत परंपरा है, that is the greatest thing, जो कहते हैं ना भारत वर्ष संत भूमि. It's not just about that land mass that is India. जहां भी है, जहां भी ये संस्कृति है, जहां भी ये शास्त्र है, वो संत भूमि है. जहां भगवत नाम है, वो संत भूमि है. That's all. Or you could be in this tirth and be thinking of all crazy things. Gone. अन्य क्षेत्र कृतम पापम तीर्थ क्षेत्र विनश्यति, तीर्थ क्षेत्र कृतम पापम वज्रलेपो भविष्यति. तीर्थ क्षेत्र में सब पाप चल रहे हैं. पाप इन अटैचमेंट्स एंड राग द्वेष क्लेश, ऑल काइंड्स ऑफ क्रेजी थिंग्स तीर्थ क्षेत्र में. तो उसमें क्या तीर्थ क्षेत्र इज फाइन, बट द पर्सन इज डिग्रेडेड. Tirtha is where, Tirth means holy place, is where our connection with the divine is unbroken. That is Tirtha. वो तीर्थ ही बन जाता है. And that can be anywhere. That can be in our own home. That can be in our own mind, body, in our own family. It's not about running away somewhere. जाइए मंदिरों में जाइए. Everything is beautiful. You yourself are the Tirth. That is not an ego statement. ऐसी सब जीवन मुक्त की स्थिति होती है. प्रेम भक्ति एंड सत्यम. दिस इज द कनेक्शन हियर. लेट्स स्टॉप हियर फॉर नाउ. इट इज 9:03. ओम वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा. श्री गणेशाय नमः. ओम नमो नारायणाय. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. ओम नमः शिवाय. श्री सद्गुरुभ्यो नमः. श्री राधा कृष्णार्पणमस्तु.